All right, Kevin McGonigle signs 8 years, $150 million extension. Another young kid locked up long term here, and with the lockout pending. So Tigers are pretty much saying this kid's our centerpiece, no matter what happens with the lockout. So thoughts on this one?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he's considered to be kind of that can't miss type prospect. He's come up, gotten off to a good start. Continues to hit. He plays good defense, does everything they need him to do, and he's just getting started. I will say I saw him last year in Double A and was really really impressed. Um, but he's not a big guy, but he plays bigger. Like he makes a lot of loud contact, hits the ball hard, um, plays bigger than he is, and I think he's going to be great for the Tigers for a long time. And they were smart to hang on to him. I think that all these young contracts obviously come with risk. You saw the Red Sox whiff on Christian Campbell. That's not looking good right now. Obviously,
Yeah.
still time because he's young to rebound, but he's not off to a great start in the minors either. Sometimes you get him right, sometimes you get him wrong. I think a guy like McGonigle is in that can't miss group where he's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about the Tigers right now? Right. They came off a 6 game losing streak and they've turned it around. They're on a 6 game winning streak. So is that the Tigers team we're gonna get this year, or are they gonna kind of level it out and figure it out here going forward? What are your thoughts on them?
I mean, I'm not high on the Tigers. I don't like a lot of what their roster is comprised of. I don't like the unevenness of their offense. I think the team you saw in the second half that kind of imploded is more of who they are than the team you saw in the first half of last year. And I think you're seeing that right now. They are incredibly uneven. They're up, they're down. There's no consistency. And I think that's who they are. I think we're going to see them rip off 4 in a row and then give up 4 in a row. And they're going to be all over the place all season. I think in the end, they should win the Central. I don't have faith in them.
Yeah.
I feel like the teams around them that if they figure it out could unseat them. But I think this is who they are.
I mean, to be fair, every team in the MLB is streaky as heck.
Well,
I mean, we were talking about it last show. It was like Yankees had lost 6 in a row, and the Astros had lost 7 in a row, and we're just like, what is going on? The Rockies had won like 5 in a row. We're like, what the heck is going on? And it just seems like everybody is just streaking all over the place, except for the Red Sox. They just continue to plummet.
yeah.
But we don't need to talk about them anymore at this moment. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the inconsistencies of their offense might hurt them. Now, let's bring up Skubal again. It, it's going to be almost impossible for them to trade him at the deadline, right? Because we've talked about it. He's not going to get an extension if he goes to another team with what's in 2027. I don't see a team getting him and extending him for buco bucks to then just be like, oh crap, like now what do we do? We got to sell the rest of the team in order to keep Skubal here. I don't see a team signing that extension. But do they make other moves to bring in pieces to make sure they do get to a World Series? Because we just kind of mentioned it. The Blue Jays are struggling. They can't keep the team on the field. The injuries are everywhere. So the AL's kind of wide open again. Do the Tigers just go all in?
No. I think it's going to go the other direction for the Tigers. I think the Tigers are going to get into kind of July, and unless they're really convinced they've got a shot, I think they're going to move Skubal. It would be silly for them not to, because they know they're not going to re-sign him. They know he's not coming back, and unless you're positive you can make a run with this team, then you need to get something for him and move on.
Do you think that the trade value is gonna be there though? Do you think teams are gonna trade a lot to get him for a 2 month rental with no chance for extension?
We've seen teams give up packages of prospects to make a run down the stretch and pick up an elite pitcher. I mean, I think think of some of the big names that have moved at the deadlines. I mean, are you going to get a massive haul? No, because you're renting him for a few months. But if you're a team that's in contention that needs that one more arm to put him over the top, you'll give some prospects up. And if you're the Tigers, we can finish off the season with nothing, or get something for him now and start looking towards next year. They would be. I mean, we screamed to the Red Sox for not doing it with Xander,
Facts.
which was a terrible, terrible mistake on their part. I think the Tigers are going to have to be convinced that they can make a run. Otherwise, letting him walk for nothing will be a massive mistake.
Yeah. Joseph, we were really high on Torkelson too. We picked him to be rookie of the year when he came up, and just no consistency. And he's saying it's time to move on from him. So if the Tigers do sell Skubal, do they send Torkelson out too? Do they start rebuilding? I mean, they got some young guys there. Do they just? It's not maybe not a complete rebuild, but do they retool? I guess.
Yes, I don't think they're in rebuild mode. I mean, you signed Framber Valdez to be your ace of the future, knowing Skubal was gone. So you've kind of got that locked up. You have, McGonigle is there. You've got some other really good core young pieces. I think it's one of those where, yeah, you need to make a few moves. You need to fill a few holes, but like you're not that far off. And you've got a good core. You just have some weakness around the edges. And I think if you can clean that up, this is a team that, they could be right in the same spot next year, just with different faces. They could be right back in contention, but they've got to figure out the Skubal situation. They got to figure out what they're going to do with guys like Torkelson and Javi Baez. They got to figure out who is that core you're going to ride with. Who are those 4 or 5 guys that are going to absolutely cement your foundation that you build around?
Yeah. Carl, I don't hate this take at all. And honestly, I don't think I've heard it. He says, I could see Milwaukee going after Skubal for a ride him into the ground situation like they did with CeCe in 2007. I mean, yeah, I don't hate that. Yeah, Joseph, you've got Job coming back, Max Clark coming up. Just need to make a few differences. And yeah, maybe that's a deal. Hey, Skubal and Torque for, maybe that buys you another couple prospects in the trade. But man, if he goes to the Dodgers, it's lights out. Forget it.
Yeah, I'd be careful with Max Clark. I think the situation, I mean, the kid is down in the minor leagues tearing it apart, and the Tigers have indicated they have no intention of calling him up. I do think a lot of that has to do with what happened during spring training. Like, there's clearly a large maturity gap with Max Clark. He needs some time to grow up. And I think bringing him into that situation now would be a disaster. Yeah. I think he's the kind of kid's either going to figure it out and be a superstar or be an absolute crash and burn bust. I don't know which one he is.
Yeah, fair. Job's going to be interesting because we saw flashes of brilliance from him when he came up, and then that injury kind of hurts. But so yeah, hopefully he comes up and makes an impact in that rotation, and he's going to have room to do so with Skubal gone. So, but yeah, good for McGonigle. Just saw a clip of him signing it at the table, and all his teammates and Skubal's in the back. And he goes, "Hey, Kevin, we got a off night on Saturday. You planning on taking the boys out?" Like in the press conference, Skubal asked him that question, and he was like, "Yeah, I think I can get something set up for you guys." So pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he will be the face of that franchise. Skubal is very much passing the torch, and McGonigle is going to be the guy that keeps running with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's so good.